The reason this video is later than my unofficial schedule is that I feel like I'm dying. Hi friends, my name is Emily and welcome back to my channel. It is February 19th. We are still in Black History Month. I thought I would go through my bookshelf and pull out some books by Black authors that I read pre-booktube or very early on in my booktube channel. I am very confident in saying that the 3 authors that I have here are excellent. Like, if I had to do the KonMari thing and keep 30 books, I would keep all 4 of these books by these 3 authors. The first book I have here, or the first 2 books I have here rather, are Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents by Octavia E. Butler. Octavia E. Butler was sort of groundbreaking in that she was a Black woman that got published in science fiction. She has written many other pieces, but these are the 2 that I have read. I have studied in various science fiction courses in university. She comes up a lot in discussions on Afrofuturism in sci-fi. This follows Lauren Olamina, who is living in like the beginning of this economic and social crisis. Like the beginning of this book felt very much like the beginning of The Walking Dead. People finding groups, running down highways, trying to find groups of people they feel safe with. Lauren Olamina is this visionary woman. That's why she was on the course, actually. It was like visionary women in science fiction. So she ends up creating this new place, this new safe haven, and this new religion, essentially. Hi, Editing Emily here. So what I failed to do was give any sort of introduction to Parable of the Talents. Parable of the Talents is a dual perspective, so we get both Lauren Olamina's perspective and her daughter Larkin's perspective. Larkin also goes by Asha. It's switching back and forth between Lauren's journal entries and Asha's experiences. In this novel, we see Lauren Olamina's Earthseed community called Acorn, this little safe haven, be challenged. Things sort of go on from there. I think that's the important part. Back to past, Emily. The thing that I find really interesting about both of these is the idea of hyper-empathy. Both novels deal with that quite heavily. Hyper-empathy means that when you witness something happen to somebody else, you physically feel it. You physically feel that pain. That could be an advantageous trait in a perfect world. Like when you see someone else experience pleasure, you experience pleasure. When you see someone else experience pain, you experience pain. So you want to resolve any situations and prevent any situations that cause pain. However, outside of a little utopia, if somebody who doesn't have hyper-empathy realizes that you are hyper-empathetic, that can be very easily abused. I thought that was really interesting. I loved the writing and the world building. Out of the 2 courses that I took one in my undergrad and we read Parable of the Talents, and this was my favorite book from that course. It was the only book in that course written by a person of color. It was one of 2 books written by a woman, and this was my favorite book in the whole course. It is phenomenal, and if you haven't read it, I would recommend it. This I read during my master's. It was for a Visionary Women in Science Fiction course, and once again, this and maybe Woman on the Edge of Time by Marge Piercy were like the ties for my favorite books in the whole course. So really, really enjoyed these. Highly recommend them if you haven't read them. They are amazing. The next book I have here, I read in my undergrad course, and that is Breath, Eyes, Memory by Edwidge Danticat. You know what? There's no way I can explain this as well as the back does. I'm just gonna read it to you guys. At the age of 12, Sophie Cacao is sent from her impoverished village of Croix de Rosette to New York, to be reunited with a mother she barely remembers. There she discovers secrets that no child should ever know, and a legacy of shame that can be healed only when she returns to Haiti, to the women who first reared her. What ensues is a passionate journey through a landscape charged with supernatural and scarred by political violence, in a novel that bears witness to the traditions, suffering, and wisdom of an entire people. The novel really looks at intergenerational trauma and deals quite heavily with sexual purity and then the abuse that goes into checking for and maintaining sexual purity of young women, and I thought it was beautifully written. There is an incredibly old review. It's probably one of the first videos that I ever filmed. I loved the book then. It stays with me now. If you haven't read it, I would recommend it. The last book I have here, I read, I believe, in my second year of my undergrad, and that is What We All Long For by Dionne Brand. So this is a piece of CanLit. It is set in Toronto, and there are a couple of different perspectives. And so we look at what it means to be young and in love and building friendships, building connections, building a career in Toronto as a young person. They are very culturally and racially and sexually diverse, and I just remember that this has one of the most beautiful and well-written sex scenes I think I have ever read in it. Anybody who I recommend this book to has read it and loved it. Could just be the type of people I hang out with, but whatever. I think it is beautifully written. I think if you are at all familiar with Toronto, I think it very much captures that feel. I'm not sure that this really has much of a plot. It's very much about the people. If you are a character-loving type human, like character novels float your boat, I would definitely recommend that you pick this up. We have 3 Black female authors here, 4 texts that are phenomenal, and I think that you should read them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Have you read any of these books? Have you read any other books by these authors? Because obviously these are just the ones that I have read. I haven't read their entire body of works. Let me know your thoughts. Before we go, we also have to thank my patrons. Thank you guys for supporting me and making this content and longer form content, which I am currently working on, possible. I very much appreciate what you have enabled me to do, what you are enabling me to do. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye.